This episode of Business Unplugged is sponsored by Bottle and Basket Convenience Store on Apsley High Street. Just our way of looking out for the little guy. They supply milk for our coffee, and they're always nice, and don't charge a transaction fee when I make a 75p purchase on my Visa. This episode is for you guys.
They don't charge you a transaction fee?
Nope.
They've been charging me for years. I have to spend over £4, which means when I go in there at 6 a.m. sometimes on a Tuesday morning to get milk, I have to buy 4 cans of Guinness as well to make up the cost.
I didn't know you had a Guinness and milk habit.
Well, I think we need to change sponsors.
So why are we here? Well, this time, in this podcast, we are talking about advertising versus marketing.
So do they not like each other? Like, is this like a playground fight?
I think it is like a versus. That was certainly how it started when I started researching it. I was like, this is a choice between. But of course,
they're not mortal enemies.
They're not mortal enemies at all. It turns out that the simple answer is, if you want to know that you've listened to at least 2 minutes of this podcast and learned something so you can go away, the thing to learn now is that advertising is just a subset of marketing. It cannot stand on its own at all, whereas marketing is the whole shaboodle.
So you just summed up the whole podcast there.
That's it. Let's go.
Cool. Finish.
No, but there's way more to it, right? So sit tight.
All right.
So
this is a Dave podcast. This is the first time he's been let loose. So I accept no responsibility for the content that appears in this. Unless it's good, then it was all my idea. On you go.
Edit as you see fit.
What is the definition of marketing?
When I looked into it, I discovered this is why there's so much confusion. You know, when Seth Godin was asked this question, he just said flat out the difference. But what is marketing? He was asked, and he said, well, that's an easy answer. It's not advertising. And he was not trying to be cryptic. He's saying the whole problem is that people assume that advertising is marketing, and it's just a way of saying, buy this thing now. It's just the part of the marketing exercise where you say, I'm ready for you to make a purchase. And that's a very small part.
Okay.
So, yeah. So
in answer to your question, if I understand right, marketing is not advertising.
Marketing is not advertising.
Okay, good.
You can use it within your marketing, but it is not one and the same.
Okay.
And just to illustrate that point, think about the fact that ad blockers are a thing, right? But you never heard of marketing blockers, because marketing isn't something that riles people, but advertising is. So it's really important to understand that when you are doing an ad, you are specifically pinching people's attention that may not necessarily want to buy or be interested in that thing, unless you've got a really targeted list. But most of the time, that's what you're doing with advertising. Whereas marketing, you're attracting people to the ideas or the products or the services that you've got. So quick fire round.
What you're really saying is that advertising is the obnoxious drunk at a party. Marketing is the slick guy everyone wants to chat to.
You would hope so.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
I'm glad that's how you summed it up nicely.
Yeah,
cool.
That's the way to be. So yeah.
Which one are you at the party? Because I know which one I am.
Definitely not Don Draper. I know that. Right. It's time for a quick fire round, just to see if you understand everything that we've talked about up till now. You ready?
Should we name this? Let's give it like a quiz name or something?
Oh, you mean like a totally new jingle that we haven't done before?
Well, no, we can name the segment, can't we?
So should I do a voice like, it's time for quick fire round, like that?
Oh.
But not that.
It could be that. No, I mean, do we name the section?
Well, I've just named it quick fire round.
That's it. That's been used a million times.
Oh.
Should we even come up with something more creative?
Slow fire round. Quick sand round.
The quick fire round is like,
I know, it's
that's
ubiquitous.
the definition of the quiz. You know, you have things like The Chase and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Let's name this section something more creative.
Fine.
Something that people can latch onto.
Okay.
Any ideas? I'll tell you what. We'll just put it in the jingle, Vinay.
Put it in the jingle.
We'll work it out later.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of no name, so we gave it no name. Couldn't think of no name. This is the quiz with no name. This is the quiz with no name. Shoo-be-doo-be-wow.
Okay. Are you ready for the insert, whatever the line is, round?
Yes. Good
Tesla,
name, by the way.
Thank you. Tesla's insane mode, marketing or advertising?
And marketing.
Because?
Because it isn't advertising.
It's all right. You have learned something. I was hoping for more elaborate answers,
Okay,
but no, I'm fine with that.
Because it's something that people are talking about, they want to be part of, makes them feel good.
Pulls them in, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. There's no sell there.
Does everyone know what insane mode is?
Probably not, but they can go and Google it, and they'll find it real quick. So,
Okay. Quick fire round.
All right. It's not that quick suddenly. It's a slow fire round, like I said. All right. John Lewis, Christmas ad. Marketing or advertising?
Both.
Both. Good. So discuss.
Well, it's an advert, because it is on telly.
It happens to be,
The
yes.
wraparound isn't particularly good, but people love getting involved with that, sharing it, talking about it, crying over it.
Exactly. No one just watches it and goes, that was it.
That was informative.
So what happens afterwards
do you know what? It's not an advert at all, because it doesn't advertise anything. It's a story that is relevant to feel good. That has nothing to do with the products they sell, but the result of it is people get... they become one with it. They actually want to watch it.
You've changed my mind. I was thinking it was both, but I like that idea because it doesn't actually sell. I mean, technically it's the John Lewis ad you do associate with it.
It's almost
it's by association.
It's like a sponsored story.
It's actually not an advert.
Yeah.
When technically it has been called one, but it is not advertising in the true sense.
Right,
so there we go. Great.
So
it's
we
marketing.
know if it's not advertising, it's marketing.
It's marketing.
Okay, go.
You should see a pattern emerging.
Quick fire round.
Fine. Dior perfume scratch and sniff magazine inserts from the 80s. Marketing or advertising?
Just the Dior and scratch and sniff together.
That's the only reason it's in here.
It's not the premium sort of...
But they did have them. They were a thing. You were supposed to
know.
experience the perfume.
They still exist.
Yeah.
They're just not called scratch and sniff. They're probably called like
I called them that.
perfumette or something like that. I'm going to say that's an advert.
Old Spice. The man your man could smell like. Marketing or advertising?
Again, I'm going to go marketing on that.
I think so. Like John Lewis, it's a marketing experience. Basically, people want to talk about that. They're not just consuming it and going, yeah. Well,
it's slightly less. It is an advert because they're talking about a particular smell, fragrance you can buy, but also, it's kind of getting you involved. It's got more of a message than just buy my smell.
It was hard not to talk about that one, wasn't it? Because it was so out there.
Yeah.
So I think that was definitely a marketing experience. So the pattern. That's all of them, but the pattern out of all of those, it's hard not to feel pulled into the campaigns that work, right? And so those are a marketing experience. The ad was the last part of the puzzle, and so that was just the mechanism by which it was delivered, but it was definitely a marketing experience. So that should help, I think, paint a picture of how marketing versus advertising works.
That was good. I enjoyed that game called...
This is the quiz with no name.
Well done. Okay, so now if people know that ads are for them, and the fact that there is such a thing as the ad blocker says that they know that that's the case, then they know that also, like the advertiser, that it's a numbers game and that you're playing it with their time. So you need to get specific first so that people are getting the ads that they actually want. Now, yes, there's lots of tools for that, but you need to be knowing what your audience is and then put it in front of them. You've got to know your audience really, really well for that. So that's the important point, I think, up till now. If that's the case, how do you know you're doing marketing and not advertising? Or, to put more clearly, that you're only adding advertising onto your already marketing structure? And
Is that a rhetorical question?
It's a new section, in fact.
Oh, okay.
But it's our quote and stats combined section.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to probably just insert the word quote and stats in the jingle.
So we need the jingle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at those stats and quotes.
This is the section where we scour the internet. I did. In search of quotations and stats that both enlighten and entertain, and frankly make us sound more urbane and sophisticated than we actually are.
Well, urbane.
Urbane, it's a word.
Uh,
It's hard to target a message to a generic 35-year-old middle-class working mother of two. It's much easier to target a message to Jennifer, who has 2 children under 4, works as a paralegal, and is always looking for quick but healthy dinners and always wants to spend more time with her kids and less time on her housework. Now, that's Elizabeth Gardner, who is someone. I don't know.
You actually know this woman?
No. But the point is just attributing to who said that. But I think that just illustrates the point. You've got this really broad, everyone look at this message versus I'm only interested in you. I made this for you. And I think this is something that Seth Godin's always talked about.
Right.
The feeling that something was made for you is a totally different experience to there's something that someone's trying to sell. All right, on the stats front,
right.
And this will disappoint you slightly because we've only got one stat. But anyway, 81% of consumers have closed a browser or exited a web page because of a pop-up ad.
81?
81.
I'm surprised that's not 100.
Yeah.
But I also don't think that's a bad thing because there are so many pop-ups.
But it does tell you that people are willing to just, get rid of the thing they're looking for because of a pop-up ad.
Yeah, but I can also argue that and say people also do click on those and they fill in the emails and stuff.
Well, again, if you're playing a numbers, it's a question of, look, if you're playing a numbers game or not, but this is what you're dicing with.
Yeah.
You might be turning off.
Choice.
Yeah, you've got to make that choice. So that's what's happening. That doesn't happen with just marketing generally. That happens with pop-up ads specifically, just saying advertising. Anyway.
Okay, good point.
Look at those stats and quotes.
Here's something that, in all this research I discovered, right, was there's a campaign. Here's how great advertising can only come out of considered marketing, right?
Okay.
So if you're watching the video, you can see an ad now, and if you're listening, all you'll be able to see is a campaign poster for the US state of Nebraska with a slug line that reads, "Honestly, it's not for everyone." Now, at first blush, you could say, "Oh, it's just it's a ironic sort of spoof on advertising or something like that." It couldn't be for real, but it is. It really is the latest campaign for Nebraska from the Nebraskan Tourism Board, and you have to hand it to them for brazenness. There's got to be something going on here. I'll assume the fact that Nebraska might not be for me, but I still saw this and felt I'm being treated like an adult here because I'm being pulled in to consider something that's going on. And it turns out that Nebraska is literally last on the list of places that Americans want to visit on holiday.
Probably because they keep writing bad things about themselves in adverts. Their advert worked.
No, the old campaign used to be America's Frontier, and no one went. So this is working. So
more people are going to Nebraska because they're saying negative things about it.
It's early doors yet, but they are getting a lot of attention, and they're getting people thinking that they're thinking differently about Nebraska.
It's kind of like when a film is so bad, it gets cult status, like The Room.
Nebraska could be a
People want to
cult
see the
movie.
place because it's so bad. They haven't seen anything so bad before.
Nebraska could be the disaster artist of the 52 states. But I mean, that puts it behind Alaska. Okay, so
Alaska's amazing. I always wanted to go there. There's no one there, and there's gold and huskies. It's like my dream.
but they're not all the same 3 square meters. I mean, you're really going to struggle
Even
to
better.
find them all.
I like a bit of scenery. Anyway, we digress.
We digress. So
there's no stats come out on that yet.
It's too early. This is
so
fairly
it
recent.
could fail completely and have the exact opposite
I think they
thing.
need more than a year to know if it's working because these things take time. People don't take holidays.
Well, do you know what? Let's pretend it did work.
Let's pretend it did work. But
Right.
the most important thing is you can't just say, "Oh, the marketing hasn't worked," unless people will just pour into Nebraska
What
immediately.
is in
the
Nebraska?
point is to get people to think differently about Nebraska. And the problem is everyone had this assumed status that it is a cliched whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing they've done is they've gone out and actually researched what Nebraskans actually think of Nebraska for a start, and then use that deliberately. So they went, Nebraskans will say stuff like, "There's nothing to do here." So they've used that on billboards and then put rafting pictures and stuff, which is actually what you can do in Nebraska. Yeah. There's nothing to do, and it's like
that makes more sense because I was
right.
going to say if you've got a rubbish product, there's no point.
There's no point, but it is beautiful.
So they do have cool stuff there.
It's a beautiful place to visit, and that's the truth of it. But the problem is it's suffering from this cliched version that people have in
I think
here.
we should make a stand and say if this podcast or our business ever makes enough money for us to afford a flight, we should go to Nebraska and podcast from there on a raft.
There we go. That's
so just tell your friends about the show, and then one day we can live our dream of seeing the worst state in America.
Might not be by then. So
I'm not going if it isn't.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've been brought there under false pretenses.
So, but the thing to think about is the hard work was done way before they got to the billboard ad making stage. They actually went and did this research, looked at the cliches, looked at how people were perceiving Nebraska, and sought to change that image because that was the problem.
Marketing, right?
Yeah, the product was great. There's nothing. Nebraska is beautiful.
Just to make sure that you know I'm learning here, that is the marketing.
That is marketing.
That picture is the advert.
The picture is the advert, but it could only have happened after researched
marketing.
and considered marketing. Exactly. Now,
we're learning a lot today.
As
Dave.
part of this exercise, I felt we ought to do the same exercise with Himmel, make a new campaign slogan for Himmel. So we're asking
new one.
you.
What's this current one?
Well, I don't know. And what we wanted was that you, the listener, if you know Himmel, if you don't, doesn't matter, to do it anyway, is to let us know what a good slogan for Himmel would be if you're a tourist. And you wanted to attract people to the area. Or you might not.
We're going to give away a prize with this, aren't we? We're not going to say what the prize is yet. You have to wait and listen to the end of the show.
him.
It's actually a very good prize. Email is biz unplugged at gmail.com. So send in, what, a sentence?
Yeah, sentence. So we just want hit it up with Himmel's new slogan.
Yeah.
And send us that.
Yeah.
And to get you thinking, I've come up with my own one. And you can't mention the magic roundabout. If you don't know anything about Himmel, there is a magic roundabout which everyone talks about, which it's boring.
Go on, let's hear your slug line.
Himmel. Trains leave every 7 minutes. So it can be ironic.
To where? Which way? Well, anywhere. Where are the trains going?
All right, I'm a bit down on Himmel, aren't I?
Well, I know from Apsley Station, Dave, they go every half an hour. So it's already one up.
Have you got a slogan off the top of your head?
Hemel. It's got a canal. Send in your slug lines. Biz unplugged, B-I-Z, unplugged at gmail.com. And I reckon if you send it in, you'll probably win the prize because I can't imagine many people will bother. So if you want a prize,
I might send one in and see if it wins.
Because the current prize I bought with my own money. I don't want to give it to you.
I want that prize even more now.
All right, we'll announce the winner on the next show. In summary, small, or an SME, whatever you want to call them, they're thinking, all right, we need to up our game, want to get in some new business. We want to make a nice promo. What would you say to them now, based on all of that?
I would say, fine, where does it fit into your marketing puzzle? Make sure that it's answering questions that people already have. Because if it's just going out there as the first thing that you're doing, you're just thinking ad, there may be a problem. May not be. It may be you've already got that amazing product that's ready to go. So I don't want to second guess anyone. But I'd be willing to bet money that most SMEs have considered the advertising before they've really considered the whole marketing chain.
But I don't know what questions people have.
Yeah, no, like I said, you can't second guess that.
That's the person saying that to you, not me. We're in a role play now.
Oh.
So,
I didn't see that switch.
You said, yeah, I know, I didn't really alert to it. You never know when I might become a different character. So Dave, that's really interesting and everything. But how do I know what questions people are asking?
That's a better role play. I mean, there was a totally different character emerged there. So I don't know the answer. So what was the question again? You threw me with your acting.
Well, I'm not going to use you because you clearly don't know how to listen. Good day and goodbye. Let me try again. You mentioned there, Dave, that was really like smart and stuff. I'm really confused because I'm really confused there because I don't know what questions people have to ask.
Well, there's tools for that. So if you're meaning you're not sure what people are looking for,
well, yeah,
there's digital tools for that. So
how will I know?
You go to BuzzSumo. Yeah. You can find online ways of doing that. Go to Keyword Planner and actually find what people are searching for in the first place. But really, in your market research for your product, I presume you're already you're solving a problem for people. So maybe your marketing should be targeted around what that problem is and how you solve it.
I don't know what you're talking about. So maybe I should pay you to do it for me. Congratulations, folks. You just made a sale.
So next time you're about to do a promo or a flat out ad, just ask yourself, am I just doing an ad on its own or am I actually doing marketing here? And that the ad is just a little bit extra in my marketing plan. That's the thing to ask.
Lovely. This is actionable. So let's move on to a section we're going to have on a regular basis. And this is your chance to win a prize every week. You know how to win it. bizunplugged at gmail.com. And this is our book review section where we'll read the books so you don't have to bother wasting all your time and we'll summarise it quickly. Probably a jingle for that.
Probably.
In the future, people won't read books. They'll just know everything. But until then, we've made a book review because you're not as clever as the people from the future.
Nice jingle. If you bothered.
Because
if you didn't, then
because we make the jingles up after the show. Who knows what happened there? Could have been weird.
It probably was. Right. So the book that I'm reviewing.
Do you want to get it?
And
we just show it to the cameras.
If you're watching, we are reviewing This Is Marketing. The reason I wanted to do a review on this is because I have read plenty of Seth Godin's, and I was thinking, has he got anything else to say? And this one was like, honestly, because I felt he's covered everything. No, I just felt like he's always covered everything. I didn't think there was anything left to say on marketing that he hadn't already said.
No, I kind of see what you mean there, actually, yeah.
And it just felt like, it still felt like all new information. So
he's super smart.
He is super smart.
Yeah.
And prolific as
Let's
well.
leave it there.
All right.
And then I reckon we'll tweet him and go, look, Seth, we're promoting your book. Give us a shout out to your
Give us a
millions of
shout out.
followers. Yeah.
So I'm going to pick, just to pull you in a little bit to what is going on in this book, the sort of things that Seth Godin's trying to get you to think about is this is in the public forum. It's it's a sample actually that you can find. So you're not going to actually, this is not plagiarism. I don't know if it's a risk of reading out a book.
So
anyway,
we're summarising the
but
book here. This is your favourite bit from it.
This was certainly.
Oh, he's not gonna tweet us now.
Should we put it back and
Do
then
you know
pretend
what?
it didn't happen?
Fell in the bucket of glue.
It did.
No, it didn't. Hang on. Let's just.
That bucket of glue that we always have hanging about.
Yeah.
We do actually.
We actually do have a bucket of glue.
That's another story.
All right, I'm just gonna hold it here like Sweet Debbie McGee.
Yeah. Some
Okay.
people have a glue sniffing habit. I've got a really bad
You've got
glue
a bucket
sniffing-
of glue in the
bucket glue in the kitchen.
Okay.
It's like a little weird because you put it there now. Now it's.
No, we're gonna keep that in.
Are
Are you interrupting the show?
At least you're not on your phone like you normally are.
Usually on his phone, just not listening. All right, Greg.
Okay, so-
Thanks for interrupting.
Here's the bit. He's in the opening section. He talks about not mass, not spam, not shameful. He's talking to marketeers, and in the summary, the beginning, he says every 300,000 years or so, the North Pole and the South Pole switch places. The magnetic fields of the Earth flip. In our culture, it happens more often than that. And in the world of culture change, it's just happened. The true North, the method that works best, has flipped. Instead of selfish mass, effective marketing now relies on empathy and service. And I think once you've seen it work, when you know you've connected with an audience who really just wanted that thing that you've got and it's not made for everybody, then that's all you ever want to do. And I think that once you see marketing in that light, I don't think you'd make an advert again.
Yeah.
So-
But let's get to the important bit of that. How do the North and South Pole swap sides? There's loads of land in the middle.
It's magnetic poles he's just talking about.
It just switches.
Yeah.
What happens when that happens to us?
Then the compass doesn't work.
Well, we're all going to die.
No,
What happens to us?
we're fine.
So the North, how long have we got left till that happens?
Well, it can happen anytime.
I was worried about Brexit, Dave. Now I've got to worry about the poles switching.
All that'll happen is your GPS won't work and you'll crash. But you know, if as long as you've got an
Why isn't this
old-fashioned,
more commonly known?
really,
Yeah.
it's no big deal.
But that was really good, the bit he said there. I totally agree with that.
But hey, look now
You just
you've got
threw
something.
some geographical information at me that surprised me more than his message.
Oh right, well it's a thing. Yeah, look it up.
All right.
Poles can
Well,
shift.
this is let's go back to what he said.
there's a big. It's a big can there be a volcano in the middle of California kind of chance, but it happens every once in a while.
It doesn't happen bang on every 1,000 years.
No.
Oh, okay, fine. Oh, I'll sleep better tonight.
But we're due one.
So back to Godin.
Yeah, right. Well, that was kind of like my whole point. I was just saying
Yeah.
that's what he got me to think about was
Yeah.
that it's not that we cross over into marketing, obviously, with what we do. We have to speak the language of marketing in order to do our jobs properly, because we're not exclusively marketeers. But I do feel often that we are in the mercenary parts of the marketing machine sometimes, and you want to go, hang on, just got to keep this real. So it's nice to know that there's someone out there that thinks like that and believes that marketing should not be some mercenary experience. It should actually be helping people find the right things, and that's all.
What would you give the book out of 5 stars?
5.
Really?
100%.
If you want to win that,
Yeah.
all you need to do is email bizunplugged@gmail.com and give us a slug line for Hemel Hempstead. Not too rude.
And it can mention the magic roundabout, apparently. But you've got to be clever and new with that. I want something fresh.
Yeah, okay. It can't be about frustration. It needs to be about what a feat of engineering it is.
Yes, my one was about frustration, but I thought I was just being funny. But because I thought that's what you do, and you're supposed to
Good.
live in Britain. It's supposed to be dry and not serious about everything. But okay, you can say something nice about Himmel. Go ahead. Hit me with your best or worst.
Are we done?
Done.
All right. So next week's show, we've actually got Seth Godin on.
Again.
No, in person.
What?
Yeah, I didn't
Really?
tell you this.
Oh,
I figured that if we publicly announce that he's on and he doesn't turn up,
Sean Connery couldn't
we
couldn't
can
come
blame him and say what a horrible person he was.
along? That's genius. Yeah.
And now he must feel obliged.
I was just talking about empathy and service, and you've just
Yeah,
Brought
maybe
it
I
all
should
down.
read that book. Anyway, next week, Seth Godin. If he turns up, see if he's still a man of the people that he says he is. We'll get him one day.